weren't kidding, those lights are bright. Well, good morning, friends. It's really a privilege to be here with you. I love getting together as a league and getting to rub shoulders with the finest Utah has. I just appreciate and respect each of you and the work that you do, and appreciate the opportunity to be here and to share some exciting news. We've talked a lot about growth. We know growth has been our constant companion. We're the fastest growing state in the nation. We hear this a lot. Even if you've only been here a year or two, you've heard this a lot. Utah is the fastest growing state in the nation over the past decade. That is going to continue. We are really proud in Utah to have an unparalleled quality of life. It's what we love most, I think, about what our community, our state, why we live here. And we can't take that for granted as we grow. Quality of life is paramount, and protecting it is paramount. And it's on us to do that. The people have elected us to do that. And they trust us to listen and to make sure that we get that right. Our future quality of life truly does depend on the choices we make today. Good news. Now, I've joked about maybe getting this tattooed on my forehead. I'm almost not joking about it, but really, I think this is something if I could have one goal, it would be for everyone to remember one thing. Utah is growing, and we have a plan. There is a plan. And this isn't a top-down plan. This didn't come from any bureaucracy. This plan was created by all of us, by all of the partners coming together. Today, we are here to talk about the refreshed Wasatch Choice Vision, our community's shared plan for the future. I want to pull up the Wasatch Choice website really quick. This vision, our Wasatch Choice Vision, is, as I said, our community's shared vision for coordinated transportation investments, development patterns, and economic opportunities. It reflects your community goals and desires and was, as I said, this isn't a top-down plan. This isn't something we're being dictated to or forced to do. This plan was developed collaboratively by a lot of partners, by elected officials and professional staff and residents in cities and counties representing 2.8 million Utahns, by Wasatch Front Regional Council and the Mountain Land Association of Governments, the Department of Transportation and UTA, the Kem Gardner Policy Institute, Governor's Office of Planning and Budget, Envision Utah, chambers of commerce from across the entire region have come together to create this plan to give input and feedback about what's happening in our communities and what we want to have happen in our communities. And this plan has been born. We're honored here, Andrew and I, to represent everyone collaboratively who had a role in putting this plan together as we present it to you today. The Wasatch Choice Vision Plan has 4 key strategies for a thriving region and thriving strong communities, which we all have and which we all want. Transportation choices, which reflects Utah's Unified Transportation Plan. I can't touch on enough how awesome it is to go to national conventions with groups similar to the metropolitan planning organizations that we have here, and to have them marvel that Utah has a unified transportation plan as a state. We're the only state in the nation that has that. It's a big deal. And this is part of that. Transportation choices, housing options, parks and public spaces, and city and town centers. I'm going to ask you to take just a minute and to think about your own community, wherever it is that you live. How are you doing on these key strategies that we know are proven to help create strong and thriving communities and regions? As I think about our city in South Jordan, we didn't used to have very much variety of housing type. We have a lot more variety than we used to, but we didn't used to have very many varieties, and it took just a certain demographic and a certain checklist really to live in a house in South Jordan. They weren't all that different. Now we have a vast array of housing options with more coming, but that's actually been really, really good for our community and made us better. Transportation choices, we're always working to try to create more of those. I think we're doing pretty well in parks and open space. We've been very deliberate about it. We're working hard at it. I think we're doing well. City and town centers, we're working on that. So I just ask you to take a minute to reflect and think about your own community. Are these priorities to you, and are you working on them? Do you have good plans in place for these, or do you need some help creating some? These strategies apply to all communities. Now, I realize this map that we're going to show you covers about 2.8 million Utahns, as I said, which is about 82% of the state population. But to all of our friends who live in rural Utah, those of you who are part of the 18% off of the Wasatch Front, please know these strategies can benefit all communities. They can be just as beneficial in Richfield as they are in Farmington when taking a look at how to help your community navigate growth. There's economies of scale. None of our communities are the same. The urban communities are all different from each other. Rural communities are all different from each other. We each have our own unique flavor in our communities. But these strategies can help and provide a guideline as we grapple with growth and try to understand how to grow better and protect the quality of life that our residents love so much. Okay, I'm going to turn it now to Andrew Gruber. He's the smart one up here on stage. I'm going to turn to Andrew, and we're going to have him go through the map a little bit and just give you an introduction as to what this really looks like and what it can look like and why it's important to pay attention to it. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ramsey. I just love being in a room full of people who care deeply about planning together for the future of Utah. You know, Mayor Ramsey mentioned that 82% of our state's population lives here on the Wasatch Front and back. The Wasatch Choice vision covers that whole region. Because, you know, that's the way that people go about their lives. They live regionally. Transportation functions regionally. The economy functions regionally. The vision is also long range. What do we need to be doing now to be planning all the way out to 2050 for growth and development? And it's also holistic. It gets at the interplay between growth and development and infrastructure. Now, I'm going to zoom in here to northern Davis and southern Weber counties so we can look at the interplay between these issues. Now, we have an interactive map that's available online, and you can navigate around the whole region, zoom into your area, and click on any project to get information. But I'll just start by turning all the layers off, and then let's look at them one at a time. We'll start with planned transportation investments and transportation choices, as Mayor Ramsey noted. The transportation that's in the Wasatch Choice vision is, in fact, the recently adopted official Utah Unified Transportation Plan that Leif Elder was mentioning. That's the projects and the plans that will be built across our region and state in the years to come, and they're based on the development projections that are in the Wasatch Choice vision. So that's construction and improvement of major roads and highways, enhancement of public transit, so more options for more frequency, so more people can use it. And as Laura talked about in Guiding Our Growth, there's more desire for that in the future. And, you know, even if you don't use public transit, it helps you because it removes congestion off of our key roads. And then finally, trails and active transportation, the Utah Trail Network that we were talking about before, that Leif also talked about for transportation and recreation. Now, land use. The city and town centers that Mayor Ramsey mentioned, they're the hearts of our communities, of your communities. Walkable areas where activity is focused with places to live, work, and play. Now, these are the areas that the cities that you have identified as the places that are best suited to absorb growth and mixed-use development in your communities. And if we can actually create more opportunities for growth to be absorbed, including housing, in these centers, it will help to preserve the character of existing suburban and rural communities. Other key land uses, such as employment and industrial centers, and then parks and public spaces woven right into the fabric of our communities. They're so critical to our quality of life and health. Now, the key to absorbing growth effectively is actually to coordinate and integrate all of these things together. Roads, transit, trails, city and town centers, parks and public spaces, and you can see that coordination of land use and transportation on the map. Now, if we do this, if we work together to implement this Wasatch Choice vision, it'll mean huge benefits for all of us in quality of life. The average resident will be able to access 30% more job opportunities within a typical commute. We'll conserve 35 square miles of natural and agricultural land. You'll save $5 billion in local infrastructure costs, and we'll use 3 billion fewer gallons of water per year, as Brian was just talking about. And this, I want to reiterate briefly a point that Mayor Ramsey made. I am from Wasatch Front Regional Council. Mayor Ramsey is the chair of WFRC, but this represents so many of us working together to make this a reality, because we have to partner together if we want to ensure that high quality of life in our region now and into the future. So I'll just zoom back out to the whole region and note again that, and this goes back to what the governor was saying before, none of us are in this work alone. You know, we can't view our neighboring communities with a jaundiced eye. We must work together. It'll take all of us around the region and the state working locally and collaborating regionally to achieve what we regard as the overall purpose of the vision, which is to preserve and even enhance quality of life even as we grow for generations to come. And for you, and this is the last thing I'll say, for you as city leaders, the more specific purposes of the vision, I think, are twofold. One is to inspire confidence in a community that is rightfully concerned about the impacts of growth, that we do have a plan. And then secondly, it's to take action, all of us working together. And with that, I will turn it back to Mayor Ramsey. Mayor?
Thank you. Hey, just to wrap it up, a reminder that making this vision a reality and the outcomes that will protect and ensure our quality of life for generations to come really does come down to implementing these key strategies: transportation choices, housing options, parks and public spaces, and city and town centers. We can work together as communities. We can work with the private sector to make this happen. The state can continue investing in transportation choices and multimodal options. Okay, I have good news. We're getting a lot thrown at us today, right? We've been sitting, listening for a long time, so much good information, but when you take away, I don't want anyone to leave with information overload. So good news. On all of your tables, there are little stacks of these cards. I would ask you to grab them. Take one, pass them out to your seatmates. So it is a very quick, little, concise reminder of what this is and where to go to get more information. And now, I'm going to ask for your cell phones. Take out your phones, my friends. Please take out your phones. Scan this QR code. Go to the Wasatch Choice website. Don't, take all the time during your classes today to peruse it, whatever. Open it on your phone so it's there and available. So later, when you have the opportunity, you can go through it. This is something you can dig into as deep as you want. It's impressive. It's comprehensive. There are a lot of resources available to help communities understand how best to make this happen, how to do the right thing. I know that you ran because you want to make a difference for your community. You care about your neighbors, you care about where you live, you want to protect it, you want to do what's right. This can help take some of the guesswork and some of the grappling with really hard things that we're dealing with out of the equation and help at least give us a good framework for what we can do to ensure that we are successful at the aims that we ran in order to accomplish, to protecting our communities and guaranteeing quality of life for our residents. So remember, because I really don't want to have to put this on my forehead, but Utah is growing and we do have a plan. There is a plan. There are really good folks, bazillions of them, who worked to create this plan. Let's work together to make this a reality so that we can continue to be the best state in the nation. Thank you.